UN sanctions on Iran to be reimposed. UK introduced digital ID cards for workers in the country. Good afternoon, Assalamualaikum and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching World Today with me, Sahih. Organisers of an international aid flotilla said on Friday they would press on with attempts to break an Israeli naval embargo on Gaza despite pleas by Italy to accept a compromise proposal and not take further risks. Italian President Sergio Mattarella urged the flotilla's organisers to accept a proposal to drop off its aid supplies in Cyprus and hand them to the Catholic Church Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem for distribution in Gaza. Israel said it backed the idea, but the flotilla rejected it. Meanwhile, Greece said it would guarantee the safe sailing of the flotilla of Greece.
We are very happy because yesterday we joined the rest of the boats coming from Italy, Spain and Tunisia, and we united as one common fleet of 44 ships. Our next destination is Gaza. Our mission is to break the illegal Israeli siege and create a people's humanitarian corridor. We rise to end the genocide of the Palestinian people. We sail against the complicity of our countries. Demand safe passage for our vessels, because no one is free until we are all free. All eyes on Gaza, all eyes on the fleet.
In the early hours of Friday, Spain's Navy vessel Fura departed from the Cartagena harbour to join Italy in assisting the Global Summit Flotilla GSF, a civilian-led initiative aiming to deliver aid to Gaza. The flotilla is using about 50 civilian boats to try to break Israel's naval blockade of Gaza. Many lawyers, parliamentarians and activists, including Swedish climate campaigner Greta Thunberg, are on board. Italy sent a first frigate on Wednesday, hours after the flotilla said it was targeted by drones that dropped stun grenades and itching powder on the vessels as they sail in international waters 30 nautical miles, approximately about 56 kilometers off the Greek island of Kapdos. No one was hurt, but some damage was caused to the vessels. Previous activist attempts to break the naval blockade on Gaza were stopped by force by the Israeli military. United Nations sanctions on Iran are set to be reimposed on Saturday after a Russian and Chinese Security Council resolution to delay them failed, prompting Tehran to warn that the West bore responsibility for any consequences. The decision to restore sanctions by Western powers is likely to exacerbate tension with Tehran, which has already warned that the action would be met with a harsh response and open the door to escalation. All UN sanctions on Iran are due to return after European powers, known as the E3, triggered a 30-day process accusing Tehran of violating a 2015 deal meant to prevent it from developing a nuclear weapon. Iran denies seeking nuclear weapons. The Russian and Chinese push to delay the return of sanctions on Iran failed at the 15-member UN Security Council after only 4 countries supported their draft resolution. 9 countries voted no, while 2 abstained. The sanctions would restore an arms embargo, a ban on uranium enrichment and reprocessing, a ban on activities with ballistic missiles capable of delivering nuclear weapons, a global asset freeze, and travel bans on Iranian individuals and entities, and would also hit its energy sector. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced the introduction of compulsory digital ID cards on Friday for people who work in the UK, a measure to tackle illegal immigration and maintain control over borders. The policy, which is said would be required by the end of the current parliament, aims to address concerns about illegal workers in the shadow economy and maintain fairness in the immigration system.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people, they want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems if we don't also take on the root causes.
According to figures, up to end of June, more than 28,000 migrants have arrived in small boats across the English Channel so far this year, and over 32,000 migrants are housed in hotels across the country. While some Londoners thought it was a good idea for the UK to introduce compulsory digital identity documents ID for every employee, others felt it may be abused, and one said he had civil liberties concerns on Friday.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, we could be we're being tracked every day anyway, through the use of our mobile phones. I suppose what I think is, some people complain about immigration. Some people complain about people complaining about immigration. You know, we all need to do whatever we can to support the government to manage immigration.
I just don't see the point of not having them, because we have ID all the time with you know, driving licenses, often carry our passports around. So yeah, I don't have a problem with them.
I mean, I think there are civil liberty concerns about it. I'm kind of worried about how that will be enforced, what people will be forced to choose. I wonder how effective it will be about actually managing it, and I think in the current climate, I think it puts emphasis on the experience of kind of asylum seekers and immigrants and migrants to this country, when often they're just trying to live life and do things and get on like we all are. So I'm not in support of it.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer met with his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese in Downing Street on Friday. The two leaders were expected to discuss the AUKUS Pact and the alliance between Australia, the UK and the United States, as well as issues pertaining to the current situation in Gaza and Ukraine.
More control, Prime Minister!
AUKUS has implications for British-Australian relations in the areas of defence, technology and geopolitical alignment. Last July, Australia's government signed a treaty with Britain to bolster cooperation over the next 50 years on the AUKUS nuclear submarine partnership. The AUKUS Pact, agreed upon by Australia, Britain and US in 2021, aims to provide Australia with nuclear-powered attack submarines from the next decade to counter China's ambitions in the Indo-Pacific. US President Donald Trump's administration announced a formal review of the pact this year. The two leaders are taking part in the 2025 Global Progress Action Summit in London, which is also attended by Canadian Premier Mark Carney. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said on Friday that Mexico has proposed holding high-level talks with China to address trade tensions following restrictive measures announced by the Mexican government. Beijing earlier launched an investigation into Mexico's tariffs and other actions that limit trade with China, stating that the measures could harm the interests of its trading partners and undermine investor confidence.
Nosotros estamos proponiendo una mesa de trabajo de alto nivel para poder platicar por qué se toma esta decisión. En cerca de 4 años aumentaron las importaciones de nuestro país cerca de 83%. También aumentaron las exportaciones. Y nosotros, ese es el Plan México, pues lo que queremos es producir más en México.
Mexico's Economy Secretary Marcelo Ebrard had met with China's ambassador to Mexico, Dao Jiangchen. According to a statement from the ministry, Ebrard explained that the trade measures, which target countries without free trade agreements with Mexico, stem from a legitimate national interest and are not driven by external pressure or geopolitical considerations. The dispute marks a new chapter in global trade tensions, echoing the tariff war launched by the United States, Mexico's top trading partner and fellow member of the USMCA trade pact alongside Canada. The Trump administration's latest tariff announcement on imported goods is expected to impact supply chains and economies across ASEAN, including Malaysia. Investment Trade Industry Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz said the bloc is currently assessing the implications of the move on its industries.
He added that ASEAN will use existing platforms, including the ASEAN Economic Community Council meeting at the end of October, to discuss the broader economic impact.
But at the same time, we will discuss at any ASEAN platform. We are going to meet again end of October under the ASEAN Economic Community meetings, AECC meetings. So we can discuss then. For now, Malaysia is evaluating the impact to our industries. So we will revert back once we know the impact. But please bear in mind that this is something that is already expected.
He was speaking at a press conference after the 57th ASEAN Economic Ministers meeting on Friday. President Donald Trump on Thursday announced new tariffs set to take effect on 1st October. This includes a 100% duty on branded pharmaceuticals and 30% on upholstered furniture. Rescue and relief efforts continued on Friday in Taiwan after Super Typhoon Ragasa flooded a lake above a small town on its remote east coast. The heavy rains in Hualien caused a so-called barrier lake in the mountains to overflow on Tuesday and release a thick sludge of water and mud on the town of Guangfu, where rescuers on Friday waited as they look for the missing.
While the floodwaters have receded, dark grey mud continues to blanket large parts of the area, creating problems for residents and rescuers alike. Taiwanese authorities confirm that the death toll from the lake overflow disaster has risen to 15 after the body of a woman was found. According to the Central Emergency Operations Centre, 7 people remain missing, while at least 69 were injured. Subtropical Taiwan normally has a well-honed drill for evacuations ahead of typhoons, especially in the mountainous and sparsely populated east coast, which limits casualties. However, with the high number of deaths and missing people, prompting questions about evacuation orders that were potentially infeasible for the elderly to follow.
An analyst in Taipei said on Friday gaps in understanding how the disaster might unfold may have led to a delay in evacuations in Taiwan's east coast following heavy rains brought on by Super Typhoon Ragasa.
The rain caused a so-called barrier lake in the mountains of Taiwan's Hualien County to overflow on Tuesday and release a thick sludge of water and mud on the town of Guangfu. Associate Professor of the Graduate School of Disaster Management at Central Police University, Lu Jingqian, had expected the barrier lake to overflow when he followed government data updates and warnings leading up to the incident. However, he was surprised to see videos of cars being swept away in muddy water, thinking people would have secured their property and evacuated at least an hour before the disaster hit.
In sports, Al Nassr defeat Al Ittihad to claim SPL top spot. Stay tuned. We begin our sports segment with local news. The Football Association of Malaysia FAM and 7 players have been sanctioned by FIFA's disciplinary committee for breaching Article 22 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code FDC concerning forgery and falsification. FIFA in a statement today said FAM was found to have submitted doctored documentation in eligibility inquiries in order to field the players in the third round of the AFC Asian Cup Saudi Arabia 2027 qualifiers against Vietnam on 10th June.
The players involved are Gabriel Felipe Aroca, Facundo Thomas Garces, Rodrigo Julian Holgado, Emmanuel Javier Machuca, João Victor Brandao Figueiredo, John Irazabal Iragui, and Hector Alejandro Hevel Serrano. As a result, FAM has been fined $438,722, while each player was fined $2,507 and suspended for 12 months from all football-related activities effective from the date of notification of the decision. FIFA said the matter of the players' eligibility to represent Malaysia has been referred to the FIFA Football Tribunal for further consideration.
Goals from Sadio Mane and Cristiano Ronaldo spurred Al Nassr to a 2-0 victory over Al Ittihad in the Saudi Pro League on Friday, lifting the Riyadh club 3 points clear of the champions on top of the standings.
Mane opened the scoring and then provided the assist to Ronaldo as the Portuguese striker made it 2-0 in the 35th minute. Al Nassr maintained their perfect start to the season with their fourth consecutive league victory and topped the standings with 12 points. Al Ittihad dropped to second after suffering their first defeat of the season. Mane broke the deadlock just 9 minutes into the match as he fired a first-time shot into the net. 26 minutes later, Mane sent in a cross that Ronaldo headed in from close range past goalkeeper Predrag Retkovic. The goal was Ronaldo's fourth in the league this season, placing him second in the scoring charts, just one goal behind teammate and fellow Portuguese João Felix, who missed several clear chances during the match. Al Ittihad struggled for much of the game, managing only 2 shots on target. They showed signs of life late in the second half but failed to break past Brazilian goalkeeper Bento. Atletico Madrid manager Diego Simeone is focused on his team's ability to compete amid a busy schedule rather than history ahead of Saturday's La Liga clash with local rivals Real Madrid. Real have made a perfect start in the Spanish top flight with 6 wins in a row. However, Atletico have been a tough obstacle for them, with Real winless in the last 5 La Liga derbies. Atletico's forms in the league stands in stark contrast to Real's, as Simeone's side have picked up 9 points from 6 matches, winning only 2 games so far. Atletico have also had less time to rest ahead of the derby, having played Rayo Vallecano on Wednesday, a day after Real played their previous match against Levante.
Veo que el Madrid ha crecido en el juego colectivo, que tiene un equipo que ataca posicionalmente muy bien, que defensivamente hay un trabajo que se ve que el entrenador lo está involucrando dentro de su juego para presionar más arriba y bueno, por eso han ganado los 6 partidos de que han empezado. Nosotros tendremos que llevar el partido donde creemos que le podemos hacer daño.
Liverpool defender Giovanni Leone suffered an anterior cruciate ligament tear in Tuesday's 2-1 League Cup win over Southampton. The Premier League club's manager Arne Slot confirmed the matter on Friday and said Leone faces around a year on the sidelines. The 18-year-old Italian signed from Parma in a deal worth £26 million, landed awkwardly in the 85th minute after challenge and was taken off the pitch on a stretcher. Slot added that Liverpool were looking into the process of adding Federico Chiesa to their Champions League squad in place of Leone. Liverpool next travel to Crystal Palace on Saturday, where they will be looking for a measure of revenge after losing to the London club on penalties in the Community Shield. Slot said record signing Alexander Isak was still probably unable to play a full 90 minutes as he ramps up his fitness, despite the absence of Hugo Ekitike against Palace, suspended after receiving a second yellow for taking his shirt off during a goal celebration in midweek. Palace have beaten Liverpool twice in the last 4 meetings across all competitions, and Slot said he was braced for another tough encounter against a well-drilled outfit. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta addressed the media on Friday ahead of his side's Premier League visit to Newcastle United, emphasising the need for improved efficiency and focus as the Gunners seek to secure a crucial win. Despite Arsenal sitting in the Champions League spots in second, Arteta is already under pressure with his side 5 points of Liverpool after just 5 matches. Arteta praised Newcastle's progress under Eddie Howe, noting the atmospheres and identity of the Magpies have built, particularly at St James Park. Reflecting on previous encounters, Arteta admitted he was not satisfied with Arsenal's side against Newcastle at the Emirates, but saw positives in other parts of the last season's match, which they won 1-0.
Well, every game will be different. I didn't like the first minutes that we played at the Emirates against them. I like other parts of it. There are a lot of parts that I like the game we play at St James Park, but not especially the way we conceded the goals. But we'll have to be better. I think the level is raising, their level will raise, our level will raise, and we're going to have to be at our best. And if we do that, we can have a big chance to win the game.
World number 3 Alexander Zverev advanced to the second round of the China Open in Beijing on Friday with a convincing 6-4, 6-3 win over Italy's Lorenzo Sonego. The win sees the second-seed German improve to 6 wins in 6 meetings against Sonego across his career and set up a third-round match against Frenchman Corentin Moutet.
Zverev seals his spot in the second round while simultaneously improving to 6-love in the previous matchup records. Zverev served at 82% and dropped 12 points in 10 service games. The German player was broken once from the only breakpoint he faced and converted 3 of his 4 breakpoints as he hit 23 winners to 13 unforced errors. The two-time ATP Finals champion, who is up to third in the live race, has reached the Beijing semi-finals in 3 of his past of 4 main draw appearances. His next opponent, Mutet, had early backed up his semi-final run in Hangzhou by moving past Talon Griggsborough 6-4, 7-5. The unpredictable Frenchman is competing at a career-high number 37 in the ATP ranking and has notched 26 tour-level wins this year, too shy of doubling his previous best tally of 14 wins from 2022.
In the women's draw, Coco Gauff brushed aside Russia's Kamila Rakimova 6-4, 6-love on Friday to secure a spot in the last 32 as she bids for a repeat China Open crown. The world number 3 from the United States will call next face Canada's Leila Fernandez with who triumph 6-2, 6-love over Greece Maria Sakkari in Beijing.
The defending Beijing champion powered through a few drawn-out games to take down the 89th-ranked Russian in her first appearance since the US Open. It was the American who broke first, landing the ball right on the line for a 4-3 lead. And an energized Gauff broke early in the second set and worked hard to save break points over the frustrated but defiant 24-year-old Rakimova to close out the match without trouble. The 21-year-old American worked hard to save 3 break points over the frustrated but defiant 89th-ranked Russian to pick up a third straight game. Gauff made quick work of the rest to deny 24-year-old Rakimova any chance of a comeback and close out the match with a bagel. The defending champion's biggest rival in Beijing is world number 2 Iga Swiatek, fresh off a title in Seoul after top-ranked Aryna Sabalenka withdrew.
Up next, colourful stories await you in our Offbeat Stories.
Guinness World Record Organization said on Thursday, the longest ears donkey, custom-made banana cars and fastest bar-to-hand gymnast are among those recognised in the 2026 edition of the book. UK resident Derek, the donkey took home the certificate for the tallest living donkey, standing at 167 centimetres, while his companion, Bamboo, won the title for longest ears on a living donkey, measuring 35 inches.
Bamboo has really long ears, so you would expect him to have really good hearing. But, in my opinion, sometimes I think he's deaf. Or is it just to us?
Meanwhile, British creator and resident of the US, Steve Brathwaite, was recognised for having the world's longest banana car, an idea which he said came from seeing a fruit of the same shape at the gas station.
For a month, everything I looked at, I was wondering, can I turn that into a car? My electric drill, can I turn that into a car? My girlfriend's hairdryer, can I turn that into a car? And then one day I'm standing in line in a gas station and right next to me is a bowl of fruit and on top was a banana exactly this shape.
Young American gymnast Kylie Hyman claimed the world record for most gymnastic bar toe-to-hand movements in 30 seconds, which sees her spin round an elevated bar and tucking her feet beneath her. Hundreds of Cambodians came together at the Viha Suor Pagoda in Kandal province on Monday under rainy skies to cheer on buffalo and horse races in a vibrant display of traditional competition on the final day of the Festival of the Date. The ceremonies mark the culmination of the 2-week-long festival, which began on 8th September. During the sacred period, people across Cambodia offered food, drinks, cakes and money to monks, believing these offerings would reach their deceased ancestors and bring blessings and good fortune. The annual festival holds profound significance, honouring the memory of more than 1 million people who tragically lost their lives during the Khmer Rouge regime. Viha Suor Pagoda, situated just beyond the Cambodian capital Phnom Penh, is a sacred and historic site where devotees from across the country flock to pray for their heart desires, believing in the temple's power to grant wishes. Trees of whimsical shapes and proportions are being trimmed as the end of summer approaches in northern Belgium. Many of these trees have stood on solitary farm for decades, which boasts 150 hectares and has about 500 different species, including pines, ginkgo biloba and magnolias. Over the past 10 years, hundreds of them have been pruned and sculpted in distinctive ways, transforming them into living works of art. The unique appearance of these trees has made them highly sought after. They attract architects, tree enthusiasts and film productions in search of fairy tale-like specimens. The unusual shapes and careful cultivation set them apart from typical nursery trees. Due to their rarity and the skill involved in their creation, some of these sculpted trees are valued at over £10,000 each. The Solitaire Tree Farm's collection stands as a testament to the possibilities of creative pruning and long-term care. The Dubai World Congress on Self-Driving Vehicles attracted thousands of visitors on Wednesday at the Dubai World Trade Center. The event featured wide participation from major global companies, where a range of innovative technologies, including autonomous vehicles, are on display. Among the exhibitors is Tensor, the world's first vehicle to use signal screens to communicate with others during autonomous driving.
Tensor is unique in the world as the very first car that you can own, personally own, that is an L4 or level 4 autonomous vehicle. What does that mean? It means that it's hands off, eyes off, not having to worry about anything, but riding in the car while Tensor takes the wheel.
The Dubai Government Media Office stated that the two-day Congress is hosting over 3,000 international participants and features more than 45 workshops and panel discussions, bringing together over 80 speakers, including senior officials, researchers, industry experts and developers of cutting-edge technologies in the field of self-driving transport.
And that wraps up World Today this time around. In our top story, new digital ID will be mandatory to work in the UK. For local news updates, do join us tonight at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 or saluran Berita RTM. Alternatively, you can stream us live on RTM's Click website and mobile apps. We leave you with visuals of Madrid Zoo Aquarium hosted celebrations to mark the 5th birthday of its two giant pandas, Jingzi and Zhuyu. Till then, I'm Syed Samshuddin, Malaysia Madani, Rakyat Disantuni. Thank you for watching.